Hello everybody and welcome back to the Ammo Bus Videos YouTube channel. I'm Ammo Bus Videos, otherwise known as Ammo Central, depending on what day of the week and what video you're watching, and welcome to something a little bit different. So I was having a look at the recently released repaint packs, as I have done for the previous couple of videos, and I came across this exciting one. And I thought, well, I do have the destination blinds for Scunthorpe 2020. They do look really good. It gives me an excuse to drive a dual door bus on here. It's with another independent, Hornsby's. It's a Hornsby's route, so I thought we could pretend that one of the brand new relaunched people buses, the E400 that they've got, because they've got, I believe, one or two E400s, a couple of Tridents, the Citaro that they're resurrecting. But they've got the E400 in this livery. Thought we'd take the E400 on the 12. Now, please ignore the registration. The registration bears no resemblance to what the vehicle is, as after all, it is a Metroline, a lovely, lovely, tremendously beastie Trident 2 from Metroline. So ignore the reg doesn't conform to that. But I thought, apart from that, it's a nice little pretending that People's Bus have put their Trident 2 on loan to Hornsby's, something a bit different. So we'll get the vehicle ready round to stand. We will have to excuse the fact that it is full London spec. That does, however, mean that it does sound absolutely tremendous. So there is that one positive element to this. And apart from that, I do have to remember that everybody will want to alight by the middle door. I've got to remember I have a middle door, and I've got to remember that everything on this bus is London spec. I don't believe it comes with announcements as well, although, let's be honest, we could be pleasant, well, we say pleasantly, but we could be surprised. So which stand are we going into? Stand B. It does sound very nice. So we are just doing the 12 to Ashfield caravan park, I believe it is, and we're not going to do the return journey. It's timetable just 25 minutes out there, so we'll see how long it does take us, with this being a Metroline Trident 2 that does sound as beastly as these do in real life. I can't imagine it's going to take us that long. So yes, there'll be a few of you wondering who may not have caught up with them on social media, like I've had the fortuned nature of. But People's Bus, didn't they sell out to Stagecoach? Now, yes, they did. They sold their entire operation to Stagecoach. Oh, I've opened rear door as well. There we go. I'll have to remember the door controls. So yes, they sold their entire operation to Stagecoach, and yes, they used to run round in pink and blue buses. Now, all of these vehicles, about just shy of a year ago, were all sold with the services to Stagecoach. Now, Stagecoach didn't take over the depot. They didn't take over the brand name. All they took over were the vehicles that were of interest to them, and the associated. We'll let that car go, and the stop trying to walk out in front of me, and the associated contracts. So they took over a lot of the school contracts, local service work, bits like that, and Stagecoach were interested in. However, the boss of People's Bus, having made a small fortune on the sale, has decided that instead of sort of hanging up the towel, that he's going to give it another go. He's going to relaunch it, give it another shot, potentially in a slightly different direction. And People's Buses has been reborn, this time with a yellow and green striking livery. That's this one, and I must say I do really like. I think it's quite sleek, quite modern, with all lowercase sort of lettering for People's Buses. Again, it's totally opposite to what they used to have with their buses, totally opposite style, but I still think it's really, really cool, really refreshing. And since relaunching only a month or two ago, using their old yard, deciding they're going to give it another pop, and they have already gained a school contract. So they've already gained a contract to run again. They've got the E400s for that. They've also got a couple of new Dennis Trident ALX 400s from Birmingham Busworks, and they purchased them originally from Stagecoach but via Birmingham. for use as well, potentially. Hopefully repaint into this same lovely livery. And they're getting the Mercedes Citaro G bendy bus back on the road as well, one of the vehicles that wasn't included in the sale to Stagecoach. Stagecoach weren't interested in that. They didn't sell them that or their original Leyland National. And the Citaro G, we've got somebody wanting the bus. There we go. The Citaro G has had a few bits of work done with the intention of repainting it and putting it back on the road. That'll be very, very exciting. So it's all go with People's Bus. I've never been on a People's Bus, unfortunately. That is a shame. I mean, I've seen the odd couple of them floating about, but again, I don't spend that much time in Liverpool. Liverpool just seems to be a place that's just escaped me. I do want to go there at some point, properly. I mean, I used to go there for the bus events and bits like that. So I do want to have a little bit more. So I am pulling further away from the stop just purely for that middle door. There we go, I've only got about 4 people on. It is really cool to drive the E400 on here with the sort of better sounding engine. It just sounds tremendous. And quite nice to drive it without the iBus constantly going off. So yeah, it's quite exciting to see People's Bus return. They are on Facebook, People's Bus. They're still on their previous Facebook page that's now been relaunched. If you're like me and you sort of stayed on the Facebook page even after the sale, you'll have seen all the work they did to the Leyland National and saying goodbye to the vehicles. So it was very clear that they weren't willing to hand in the towel yet. So the relaunch was incredibly exciting. Forgot how good the brakes are on this. So the only garage I've really looked around in the Liverpool area, in the Mersey area, although it's more Birkenhead side, was the Happy Owls depot. I had the privilege, I think we're going about 4 or 5 years ago, that's quite scary, but about 4 years ago I had the privilege of looking around the Happy Owls depot. We were there for a bus event, and at the time they had all these football contract vehicles going out. They were running a load of football shuttles. So the yard was open. So we went in, found a member of staff, asked them, can we have a look around? Have a look around the lovely buses, get some photos. And it was quite surprising, but they were quite kind to oblige. So as a result, that is a relatively nice screenshot. I just wish the person wasn't in the way. But still a nice turning screenshot, that will do regardless. So, and they were quite obliging. So we had a look around the entire depot, saw some of the vehicles that were withdrawn, some of the older vehicles, some of the newer vehicles, and a lovely experience to have a proper look around their depot, just to see the sheer variety of vehicles that they had. I'll have to get the photos out at some point. I will have to do that at some point soon. I knew I turned right there, that's why I thought, hang on a sec, my arrows aren't on. Because I've done this estate a fair few times. I've even done this estate in real life. I did, I did the one circular, 16913, long now scrapped, interconnect liveried B7 Viking. And I did this estate, and the driver, just like me, absolutely nutted it around the estate, so it made for quite a nice run. I think it was on the 1 service or the 1A. So I did that round to Ashby and then did a 6 round Ashby estate and back again. So it was a pretty decent pretty decent morning was that. It is a video on the Ammo Central channel, so if you do want to watch it back, want to see Scunthorpe in real life with some of the buses from the golden era before it just became E400 and E200 paradise like the rest of Stagecoach, then you can check out that video. Although I must say that Scunthorpe do still run some older E400s compared to most areas, the ex-Manchester ones, I think the MX-07s, so it's not all doom and gloom. They do still run vehicles of minor interest, so it could be worse. So I'm really glad that the repaint was done on this specific C400, the London model, because People's Buses previously, I would imagine the latest purchase is similar, but People's Buses initially, the ones that they purchased with the previous operation, the E400s all had roller blinds, so I think it's really cool to sort of stick with that tradition. Hopefully, as I say, I haven't seen a photo of this with its blinds, I don't think, or if I have, it hasn't stuck in my head. But it would be nice if they do stick with the rollers. And plus, I believe they'll stick with dual door anyway. I think the other ones would remain as dual door. So I know that at least one of them has been painted into as a Stagecoach specialist livery. So they've painted at least one now from People's Buses into the specialist colours. I do believe a couple of others are then going to follow as a result. But again, it'll be one of these see what happens kind of things. Because again, they also got some Stagecoach got some of their old ex-London Tridents back, and instead of giving them their old fleet numbers like First has been doing when they bought all the buses back from Ensign Bus before they then bought Ensign Bus. First have retained, kept their own numbers, so it's like the Sheffield B9s and the ones in Huddersfield that they purchased from Ensign Bus and other dealerships when CT Plus went under. They all still had their original First London base plates, and as a result, it just meant it was a lot easier to retain their previous fleet numbers, and that's what they've regained. But Stagecoach didn't do that, they just added the Tridents to the end of the existing Trident list, and it was an interesting move. Shame that they didn't get their old numbers back, because now I think they're like 175s and stuff like that, so on the books you're being quite high up. Some people will probably think that they are quite new Tridents and they're actually LV52s. It does sound tremendous, does this? I certainly don't drive this as much as I should. Although, as I say, I do absolutely, or as I've said previously, every time I've driven this, I absolutely love driving these in real life as well. These have got to be some of my favourite double-deckers in real life. I mean, surprisingly, these and DB 300s are my favourite double-deckers to drive at the moment. I just seem to enjoy them a lot more. So here we are at Ashby. So the 1A turns left, so yes, it was, I believe it was the 1A caught then, I think it was, because I remember getting off around the corner and then walking to the bus stop just opposite us, just there. Getting on the 6. Again, you can watch the video on the Ammo Central channel if you want a definitive answer, but I believe it went around that corner, offloaded, and then I went round to get the 6. Anyway, I did 2 lovely Vikings in that video, so it was always well. It is a shame I didn't get time to do many more in Scunthorpe, but I remember that day I was doing Lincoln and a few other bits, so it wasn't too bad of a day. Just a shame I didn't get as much time to do the Vikings as I would have minded. I did go to Scunthorpe a couple of times, so I did see them. Are you? There you go, I was about to say. Are you going? So I did get photos of most of the Vikings. I just didn't go on that many of them, unfortunately. But I got a couple, so it's not too bad. And there is the one that's in preservation as well. So not all hope is lost. So how early are we now? We're doing about the average earliness that I manage when I'm driving in OMSI. It does sound really good. It really, really does. Sounds like, I think, the older LK55 E400 that I went on in Aylesbury again. There's a video of that. I believe it's already released. If not, it's upcoming on the Amwell Central channel. So again, you can go and see that, and it will be releasing on here very soon as well. When it finally is its time in the queue, as it is scheduled. So you can see it on here very soon under the Red Rose playlist, and it will be, I believe, readily available on the Amwell Central channel already. So that was a tremendous motor. That sounds like the kind of vintage that this sound comes from. It's kind of the 05 or 55 or 6 sort of era. Because as you went on to the modern ones, they did sound good, but the ex-Metroline examples, that is, they sounded good, but this just sounds a little bit rough to be an LK09. Although then again, I could be wrong. The only other issue with this is it is limited to 40. So that's why it's not particularly suitable for routes like the 35, as I have found out in the past. So that is a shame, because the regional one isn't limited to 40, but doesn't sound as good in my opinion. Oh, come on, steering, there we go. Yeah, the absolute killer is when it just gets to sort of 40 and then goes, yeah, I've had enough now. I think I've driven a London vehicle that was limited to 42. Didn't bother me because the highest speed limit area that we went in was a 40 zone, so it didn't particularly affect me that much. But I believe when it was transferred on the motorway and stuff like that, it was very painful for the driver who had to drive it down the motorway, as can be imagined. So here we go, so we are a bit early, but I believe we are pretty much here. We say a bit, I mean we're going to be about 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes early by the time we get to the terminus. That is here, for context. So here we go, and that's why on this game this is merely a standard service rather than a circular, because it just has a rigid terminus and then goes back again. Looks alright in the sun. The sun isn't too far off. I will, however, move it slightly so we benefit a little bit more from the sunlight. Purely because it's just nice. It's quite satisfying to finish a video off with the sunlight in the right place. So I do have one last thing I want to do. There we go. There we go. One last thing. And hopefully, as a result, that'll look quite nice. Well, it looked quite nice before when I went through to that blind. It did look the part, so hopefully it'll have the same effect. So once that person has crossed over the road, you can see where the blind's going. That looks pretty awesome, so I think that might be once she's disappeared behind the bus. There we go. I think that might be the thumbnail, because that looks tremendous. But anyway, I do really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have done, do be sure to click that like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the Peoplesbus Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section, as well as an archive of around 7,000 backseat and engine focused public transport videos from the UK and beyond. With buses, trams, trains and more, there's something on there for everyone, with additional 21 videos added per week alongside the simulation section additional videos as well. You can download this repaint as part of the Peoplesbus repaint pack on the Fellows Film forums. Just searching Peoplesbus when you go into the download and it will come up. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next video, mate. Goodbye for now. Bye.